Exactly a month after the devastating earthquakes which killed more than 50,000 people across Turkey and Syria, many are still coping with the crisis and a lack of proper shelter on an unprecedented scale. The United Nations Development Programme, the UNDP, estimates that in Turkey alone, at least 1.5 million people are still inside the disaster zone with nowhere to live. The true figure could, of course, be even higher. Well, our Middle East correspondent Anna Foster is in Antakya for us. And Anna, one can only imagine the devastation that people are still struggling to cope with.
That's right, Geeta. I think one thing that's notable today, a month on from those first quakes, is how little has physically changed. You still see so many buildings like this one. This was one of the new buildings that should never have collapsed. They should have stayed up because they should have been built in a way that made them able to withstand earthquakes. But nothing has changed here, and nothing will for a long time. What is slightly different, and you'll see the backs of these containers that people will soon be living in, but the problem is at the moment they're not. All of this is taking a really long time to put into place. It's quite a slow process, and in fact even through there you'll see tents. Many people here living in tents, some outside their homes, some of them in larger tented areas, and even further away you can see another place that's become a home for people, the railway station.
These trains haven't left the station for a month. They're homes instead now to earthquake survivors. Yilmaz and 5 of his family live in this carriage. They sleep on the seats, the few possessions they have around them.
They wanted to provide tents to us, but I refused. Tents are cold, and this place has a notoriously strong wind. Yarıkaya they call it. When it blows, all the tents will end up on the sea.
AFAD, the Turkish disaster management agency, says around 2 million people have left the quake zone altogether. 1.5 million more are still here and struggling. There's anger too that so many buildings were allowed to have design features that struggle to withstand an earthquake. More than 160,000 either collapsed or were badly damaged, and it wasn't just the old ones.
This is a well-to-do area, it's close to the park, and there are lots of modern buildings. All of them should have stayed up. But look, this one is so new that you can still see the stickers in the glass on the top floor. Nobody had even moved in there yet, and yet it is still toppled to the ground.
The scale of the task ahead is enormous. There isn't enough mechanical equipment in the country to clear the rubble quickly. So places like Iskenderun's collapsed hospital wing stay as they are. Personal medical notes litter the ruins. There are smashed pieces of equipment and medicines lying on the floor. It's a moment frozen in time. People across southern Turkey simply don't know how long they'll be living like this for. Some, like Müzeyyen, want to stay as close to home as they can. She's sleeping in a tent right outside her damaged house.
My valuable articles are in there. Thieves are roaming around. The police are barely keeping them away. Lots of thieves. How can I live here?
Sprawling tented camps are the new towns. Big promises have been made for a programme of permanent rebuilding, but it won't happen quickly.
You can't deal with devastation on a scale like this in days or even in weeks. The impact of this is going to be felt by people here in southern Turkey for years.
Anna Foster, BBC.
Well, Anna, as we can see, is there a month on? And Anna, just how and who is helping the people there, obviously in such desperate need?
Well, help came very quickly in terms of search and rescue missions. We saw teams from all over the world who flooded into southern Turkey and did what they can to try and find people who were still buried under the rubble for those first 2 weeks. Now things have really changed because, of course, so much time has passed that everybody who may still be under these collapsed buildings has sadly lost their lives. And it's about supporting those people who survived. Now, people you speak to are grateful for things like the tent and the food and the aid, the water, the medicines, but a lot of people will tell you that there is still not enough. This is an area of around about 13 million people stretching across southern Turkey, and they still need an awful lot more aid because, as we were saying there, who knows how long this could last for. The scale of the devastation is so extensive. The size of the population that needs support here is so big that it makes it very difficult to try and provide that huge level of aid that's needed on an ongoing basis.
Anna Foster, thank you very much indeed.